Well, and now here we are.
Here we are.
Hey, everyone, welcome to Poetry Street. I'm so glad that you're all here safely in your own homes, and yet we're all together here at Poetry Street, which is a room without a roof where every voice is heard. Just for some of you who don't know anything about Poetry Street or how it was founded, I'm just going to tell you that Susan Dingle and Robert Bubby Brown founded Poetry Street around 2014 as a part of the Jumpstart program for the Eastern Arts Project. I'm sure I messed that up. I think it's the Jumpstart Project for the Eastern Arts Program. Anyway, that started like in 2014, and we are so happy to have Susan here today. She deserted us, not really, but she moved from Long Island out to Portland to start a new chapter of Poetry Street out there, and we're so grateful for her. So today we have a wonderful, wonderful program for you, and Maggie will tell you all about that. And if you don't know Maggie Bloomfield, she is amazing. She's an Emmy Award winner for her work on Sesame Street, and we're so glad to have her. And ladies and gentlemen, I will introduce you to you, my co-host and the assistant director of Poetry Street and Poetry Street on the Road, Maggie Bloomfield.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am so happy to see all of you. It's such a pleasure to see these faces every month. Thank you so much for joining us on Poetry Street. Like Chip said, we've been going for a long time. Hopefully we'll keep going for a long time. And we welcome anybody who's coming for the first time. We hope that you will sign up for the open mic and read something. Or just watch, whatever you prefer. We have amazing features today, and I was fortunate to go on Gianna Volpe's Heart of the East End radio program on 88.3 WLIW yesterday with Barbara and with Frankie. Carolyn could not make it, but we gave you a big plug, Carolyn.
Thank you.
And we had such a good time. Gianna has been so very gracious with us, and we thank her. I am introducing the features. It is my enormous pleasure. And I think we're going to start with Barbara. Barbara Southard is, are you ready? The Poet Laureate of Suffolk County. And we kind of know what goes with that territory. It makes her maybe the hardest working woman in show business. And we are lucky enough to have her featuring for us today. She attends presentations, she leads workshops, she advocates for poets and poetry valiantly, and especially with some difficulty during COVID. She's widely published, and her latest book is Time and Space, a collection of her poems and stories, and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. I've read it, and please help me welcome Barbara Southard.
It is so good to see all of your faces. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Chip. And thank both of you for all you do for the poetry community, which is a great deal. I'm going to start with a couple of poems of questions I always ask myself. Actually, you know, a lot of the poetry we write are questions we ask ourselves. The first poem is called Clues and Symbols. Deep under the waters of a Guatemalan lake, ancient sculptures and 5 stone docks glimmer among the fish, while satellites from the exosphere expose buried cities, reminding us what we have now is not forever. How will we compare the paintings of Lascaux their luminous animals rendered on walls by the light of torches, with our own strange markings painted on the concave walls of train tunnels, snaking underground like burrows of rodents. Who will decode the immensity of zeros and ones? Or will there be nothing left but fragments of monuments, strange symbols, spray painted on ruins, mysterious fragments of earthworks, vague clues of who we were? And the second poem is along the same lines. I wrote this earlier, but I happened to be in Toledo, Spain, walking along the paths there and the roads. And it has so much history in Toledo, Spain. It's called cobblestone paths. People who walk these paths thought Earth was the center of the solar system. Travelers now come from all points to walk the same paths, agreeing we revolve around the sun, yet we still argue over melting ice caps or how far a polar bear must swim before she's added to the big list. And after all these years of settling disputes by axe or gun, we still argue over how we came to be here at all. A Visigothic church in the city was converted into a mosque, then changed to a cathedral, all dependent on winners and losers. And when we die, we hand over projects to our progeny, leaving bits and pieces of ourselves for the future to unravel. Our place of origin spinning and weaving its own tale of water, desert, heat, and cold. So who hasn't written a poem about COVID? You can't help yourself. And, you know, it's very unsettling because we're still not out of the woods yet. And this happened to have been an old poem that I wrote, but I completely changed it. And it's called A Fall in the Year of COVID. Out late at night, while walking my dog on a dark country lane, I tripped, went sprawling to the ground. The sky shook and shuddered, spraying stars across the night. Windows of surrounding houses grew amber eyes, my face now exploring what my feet knew well. And from this vantage point, I began to wonder where the insides of potholes go, how ice expands, then collapses into void, how surface delaminates, leaving remnants of bleached bones. I rolled on my back, saw tracings of the moon through a stormy shield, the palest halo of light instructing up from down. And the essence of that childhood I once lived washed over me, the way the Perseids washed over us long ago, from the indifferent blackness of space when my brother and I lay on our backs on the barrier beach. Stories our mother told us of the Spanish flu creeping closer to their crowded Hoboken apartment, just as the grim news blasts in from our television screens today. How her father fed her soup, her hair falling out in silken strands on the pillow, how he fastened fake curls to a hat so she could walk to the docks to bring him his lunch, how he fell off the ship's mast to the deck below, leaving them all to find their own way. Accidents of history, cadences of tree frogs, the small jubilations of daily life, altered yet still present. I hadn't intended to read this next poem, but Frankie changed my mind because Frankie He read yesterday on the radio station, he read the most beautiful poem about his daughter. And I had written a poem about my daughters and my granddaughters, and it was much on the same topic about image and body image. And so I'll read mine. Frankie, I hope you read yours today because it's a wonderful poem. A question of perfection. Two sisters, 11 years apart, compare how flesh changes now that they've reached the beginning of middle age. It astonishes me how they fail to see how beautiful they are. I watch their daughters stand in front of a mirror, putting makeup on like Renoir, adding the final touches to a cheek, all for the short trip to the ice cream shop in town. At what point had they looked in the mirror, found themselves wanting? An artist photoshops out flaws on human skin, retouches arms, lifts chin lines, puts the sparkle of white back into eyes. How far back did this shape shifting start? Did all women of dynastic Egypt have long necks, slender bodies, small waists, firm breasts? All men, flat bellies, broad shoulders? The artist beguiles us, gives us what we hope to be, boundaries blurred in what we see. Now this is a poem. I have to admit I spend a lot of time in the woods, an inordinate amount of time in the woods. It keeps my sanity. And so whenever I get tense or whatever, I'm out in the woods. And you know, you find all kinds of interesting things in the woods. This poem is called Crash Dream Bicycle. There you are, half hidden in vines in the middle of the woods, rust tattooing designs all over your frame. I'm madly attracted to your twisted wheels, spokes flaring in all directions, sturdy handlebars gleaming in the light. There must have been a child who spent the summer days riding you, learning to master the surrounding world. It disturbs me to see you tossed out like a bad bag of onions. I bring you home, hang you on my fence. Years have now passed with you in my yard, small improvement from your abandonment in deep woods caught in shaggy undergrowth. I've brought you inside, painted your frame in kaleidoscope colors, added small round mirrors so that your very presence lights up the room in a crescendo of reflected light. This is all I can do for you. You are here as I am here, catching the light, still a part of this world. So we all experience grief at one time or another in our life. And we all express our grief in different ways. This is a poem about grief. Love stays and waits, full of hope. You send me a flaming message hidden under a cactus. What am I to make of that? Each day, a revelation, shreds of clouds moved by wind through a smoke of memory. I look through old photographs, a certain moment frozen in time. How do we handle grief? We dig a large hole or carry a boulder up a steep hill, sit with a friend in a quiet room. We wrap our arms around each other, sob in the bathroom with the water running. We cannot bear to hear the sound of music, yet make love with desperate abandon. see our love's image in the face of the moon, or strolling down the street, fishing on the pier. We walk in deep blackness on a moonless night through a soft wind that murmurs, I am here, I am here. All right, so this is a poem about a woman that I saw in a cafe, and I wrote this poem. I could not get her out of my mind. I wrote it, I rewrote it, I rewrote it. So this is my last, I guess, revision, you might say. Woman in a cafe. I take her photos for reasons I can't explain, other than the light from the window frames her white hair in a shimmery halo as she sits with her coffee, staring at the menu. She looks like a bouquet of fading flowers, slowly losing her presence in the brighter world outside. And though I've driven home, put groceries away, cooked dinner, had a good night's sleep, she still sits there in my mind like a small bird trapped in the attic of my house. I imagine she wakes to her days in the first solitude of dawn, trying to answer obstinate questions not yet settled. Or does she think of the last time she scrambled over rocks on the escarpment trail, still enchanted by the fiery bloom of sun? Or the last time her face flushed with passion in her lover's arms? Or the last time she felt her strength pushing through the current of an incoming tide? Did she know when each rapture would be her last? Time making its claims while she slept, still dreaming large dreams. I have two more poems. This poem, most of you are probably too young to remember Greenport when they had these huge mounds of oyster shells. They had an oyster processing plant there. And I've named this poem Oyster Shells and Walt Whitman. You were with us, Walt, when my brother and I clambered up the mountains of oyster shells down by the docks in Greenport, their stench making our eyes water, yet not stopping our fun. We ran through alleyways, watched the blacksmith move from forge to anvil, shaping the red, yellow glow of iron into objects of use. The old lobster boat waiting at the dock for our return for a night's sleep before we chugged through the Shinnecock Canal to the Great Peconic Bay, all the way to Connecticut. We did what you asked, breathed in the fragrance of hot metal, heat of fire, sweat of hard work, briny feel of seawater, leaving gifts of salt on our sunburned skin, our senses hungry for the next storm to hit the Great South Bay. You were our trailblazer, showing us good spots to catch fish, the trick of trapping blue claws. Led us to marshes that cut our feet with razor clams when we searched for treasures. Showed us where to dig in the mud to get a bushel of cherry stones. You told us not you nor anyone else can travel that road before us. And you were right, old man. I still see you near Jane's Hill when I walk with my granddaughter. I see you in the grass under my feet. This last poem that I'll leave you with is, we've gone through some really difficult times, and a lot of people have lost members of their family. So we have to be grateful for if we've escaped, to be alive. to feel heat bubble and boil under the skin, the heart sending its measured beat through the wall of the chest out into the firmament, where all those great minds still roam, mingling together, infiltrating ours. To be raised up by the feel of soft needles at the base of a pitch pine that lends a pillow for the head, or the touch of another spirit passing by on a gray day. To be blessed by the otter, her large eyes tracking the sad procession of mourners leaving the harbor. The joy the mind gets from waking to the deep blue of morning, or geese flying in front of a warm moon. Are we not all living poems, walking the broken surf of this land, stumbling on fragments waiting to be made whole, never knowing what we see is real, our minds constructed of inner visions coupled with common dreams of falling? And thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Barbara.
everybody unmute for a minute and let's give Barbara a round of applause.
Amazing, Barbara.
Barbara, your love for nature and your reflection, it just shows through in all your reflections on life. And isn't poetry wonderful? All these different voices.
Yes.
That's what's so great, man. You hear this one and then you hear this one, and they're so different and they're so beautiful, all of them.
Maggie, before we go on, Barbara, can you please tell us the name of your book again?
Yes, please.
Your latest book?
What's it called?
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I definitely want
Oh, no, that's okay. It's called Time and Space.
Time and Space, yes, thank you.
And where can people get it, Barbara? Can you put that in the chat?
You can get it. Does everybody know Monk? All Book Books. He has a website. It's called All Book Books, and you can order it from him, or you can email me, and I'll send it to you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that goes for everybody today. If you have a book, please put the information in chat in case people would like to purchase your book. That's that's how we get rich and famous. We poets. Okay, our next poet is a powerhouse. Frankie Soto is a two-time winner of the Multicultural Poet of the Year Award from the National Spoken Word Poetry Awards, Chicago. He has been called an absolute force by the New York Times. He performs and he workshops in over 200 universities and colleges. And of course, with these bios, we could go on, but we'd be here all night, okay? So please help me welcome the wonderful Frankie Soto.
So listen, you can unmute yourselves, clap, make some noise, make me feel welcome. No one likes walking into the party and everyone.
Frankie!
Frankie!
Thank you, Frank.
Everyone's had the experience, right? When you walk into a party and it's too quiet and you're like, did I just interrupt something? So after the poems, if you like what you heard, make some noise, share a thought. If a line or something resonated with you, share it. I love to hear the feedback. I like to make this, in the short span that we have, as interactive as possible. So if you feel something, you can let me know. I'll feed off of it. So I'll jump right into it since I know we're on a time restriction with these shows. My sister came over to visit this weekend, which is really cool. And my abuela, which is grandmother in the Latinx culture. And she's right now going through Alzheimer's. So it's been tough for us. And I wrote this poem really recently. It's the last poem I added to my manuscript. It's called Lost and Found. A quick few words. Ay Dios mío is oh my God, and chancleta is a Spanish slipper that is also used as a weapon when abuelas get mad. Called Lost and Found. Y Frankie, words abuela never forgets to roll off her tongue. Thoughts are muddled in a hazy fog. My mother visits, my sister FaceTimes. I send a picture of my son to her phone and Y Frankie returns. A reminder I am still pulling down the beaded rope that hangs in the entryway to her kitchen. She is still 2 steps behind with a chancleta in her right hand, armed and steady. She's told it's my birthday and Y Frankie returns. It's now the story she tells about losing me at the retail store on 167th Street, how I fell asleep under a round clothing rack and she clamps her heart, ay Dios mío, as if she still can't find me. Each detail fresh as the café she offers when I visit. She giggles when she remembers the spanking I received. The only hurt left in the room is me wondering if she'll remember Y Frankie next year. Will I be the flesh she's held all my life, or just the ghost in her memory? For now, I grab her like she was the child sleeping under hangers, hanging on to the hope that she'll always be able to find me. And that is my first poem.
Thank you.
All right, so this next piece is, I'm the type of person that I really do not like the term "that's so gay." And growing up where I grew up, "that's so gay" was always, it was never a term of endearment. It was always intended to be an insult. And as someone who has been proactive in gay rights and bringing awareness to equality, it drives me crazy when I hear that as an insult, especially when men use it with other men to somehow undermine them like it's something negative. So this is called, and I've been going back and forth with writing a piece like this, wanting it to be something that is authentic, and this is what came out. "That's so gay" was commonly said when my masculinity wasn't threatened by these emotions. I never understood why hugs were so emasculating. Was there a discrepancy between homo and hetero embraces that I wasn't aware of? My uncle would walk into a room, find me, and with no hesitation, wrap his Puerto Rican gay arms around my back. It felt like love climbing up my ribcage. I would walk into a room, find my little brother, and with no hesitation, wrap my Puerto Rican straight arms around his back. His rib cages, my ladder. I don't apologize for being a bear hugger, or crack your spine into alignment, chiropractor type squeeze. Do not embrace me, 2 twigs glancing at my back, a rough wind crackling outside the window. Count to 7 Mississippi. Lift me in the air, figure skating style, and let our warmth sink into one another. Let our hearts be in sync with one another. Let us be more than a glancing hello. Let my arms be an invitation saying, this space is reserved for you. Men struggle to love other men without needing to proclaim their infinity for women. A handshake, a pound, a language, a way of saying we are connected, but yo, I'm still straight. I never understood why love must be kept this secret. Succeed so well at keeping our mouths closed that our arms have no choice but to follow. Thank you.
All right, speak.
Woo!
Great, Frankie.
That is the first time I read that poem. The first time I read both the first two poems, so it felt good to get out there. Okay, so
Wonderful.
my manuscript, Petrichor, which best I can explain, it's the scent the earth releases after it rains. It's something that every time it would rain, since my daughter was 2, we would go outside and walk. And we would just walk at any trail, any park after it rained, and we would just smell the petrichor, which is the scent the grass and the earth releases. And that is the manuscript, my poetry manuscript that I'm submitting to publishers, and it really revolves on a lot of these topics. As a man, talking about some issues that men find taboo and don't want to talk about, and I don't mind talking about it because I'm very comfortable in my insecurities. I'm very comfortable in dope and insecure. You can be both. This is called The Closets We Keep. My son pulled the plug out of the socket, and I reacted. My voice became a switch. I could feel my empty tonsils rattling like belt buckles hanging on the inside of a closet I behave to keep closed as much as possible. I have no closets in my current apartment, but I do have this throat that hangs baggage in the dark. It likes to act like a closet. My son is 2 years old and repeats everything that comes out this closet. I'm not burying skeletons here. I've tried that, and these bones are a prideful bunch of horror villains. They don't accept dying as an option. My son reached for the outlet, fruit punch dripping off his chin, cheese puff residue on his tiny fingers. I let out a roar that made this closet purr. Belt buckles clapping together incessantly. I watch his back curl and surrender, bend and slither like a snake following the notes of a flute. This closet is an instrument playing the wrong song. There is no rhythm here that I want to dance to. I asked my son to stand up. I did not demand it. I said, I love you. Slowly and melodic, holding out each syllable so he can repeat it. Get used to those words being his closet. I called my throat a throat again, and I plugged the socket back into the outlet. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, so I think I have 2 more pieces if we're still with the still good with time.
Sure.
All right,
And
so
make sure you
really
save one for the end as well.
Oh, yes.
This,
Yes, poets.
Frankie.
We will be bringing everybody back for an encore at the end, so save a poem.
fantastic. Okay, so I'll save a
So
poem
do
that,
one now and then wait to do one later if you want,
fantastic. All right, so you know what?
if that works for you.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'm gonna do a poem that I don't believe I read this before, but since I've been talking about being open with my insecurities, I've always had small teeth, and it's always been something that I've always tried to hide. I have to tell myself to smile with my teeth, to not always close my mouth, to embrace the flaws in me. And I wanted to write a poem about it because I feel like we hide these insecurities that actually connect us so much more than we realize. So this is called My Small Teeth Forgot How to Be Joyful. I thought this smile was a giant Ferris wheel. I didn't know the chip in my tooth made me one of the attractions. I never called a mirror an enemy or felt less attractive until this grill became a sewer, a place where I let the remarks of others waste away and float into my self-conscience. From Papi Chulo's swag to saying cheese with lips tightly pressed, an expression of full bites into a ripe lemon, bitter whenever I saw a mouth made of architectural genius, The gap between my front teeth widened, and with it, my joy did as well. Elijah was the first kid to call my teeth miniature, and I disappeared in his jokes. I wanted to swing my arms like a windy day at the park, throw these Felix Trinidad jabs to knock out his symmetrically perfect curly white. And now I've returned to that familiar sinking in my throat, where I don't know if I'm being looked at or actually being seen. That insecure boy that carried cool in baggy jeans and over-gelled curls, that spoke loud so my words would be bigger than my teeth. I fell for every girl who told me I didn't notice, who said things like, it's cute, it doesn't really matter, until I, like you, always became, I will become anything that keeps me liked. I got tired of seeking approval, of apologizing in advance for my teeth being more David than Goliath. I asked my joy to resurface from its isolation, to smile as big as a Vermont night sky, knowing the smallest of stars, the smallest of stars, still have the power to shine the brightest. Thank you.
Amazing. Everyone unmute and give Frankie a round of applause, please.
Yay! Oh
Good
my
job.
God.
Love the shirt.
Very good, very good.
Wow. And any of us who've ever had tooth issues, oh my God, could you send us that poem? Frankie, that was amazing. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
truly.
Oh my God. Well, we look forward to the features coming back at the end of our program to do an encore. I'm not sure I mentioned that to Barbara. So Barbara, find another poem. I don't think you'll have a real problem with that.
She's poet laureate. Of course she has another poem.
Yeah, you think? Okay, the last feature of today is a bright, shining star in her own right. Carolyn June Jackson lives in Missouri. Her work has been informed by her feelings about racism and segregation. Her book, her first book, My Poetic Threads, Create a Tapestry, placed in 3 categories on Amazon when it launched in January. Her poetry reflects on her life experience as a Black woman growing up in the 50s, and it does focus on racism and on social and political issues, and we are so proud to have her with us today. Help me welcome Carolyn June Jackson.
Thank you, everyone. I am so honored to be invited by Chip to participate today. Just some giants in the poetry field. I am so honored. Thank you so much again for allowing me this platform. I first launched my book in January, and after writing poetry for almost 30 years, and I'm just at the point, I'm just a baby compared to some of you all who have been writing for so long and have acquired so many accolades and awards. Again, thank you. I've chosen to read 3 poems from my book, and the title of the book is My Poetic Threads, Create a Tapestry. Again, it is my first book, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the work that's in it, and I hope that you all will enjoy what I read today, and I hope that you will leave with something that maybe you heard that will become a part of how you feel about the things that are going on in the world today. I didn't want to read anything that was too I don't know, too political. I know that we all have our own, I know that we all have our own political beliefs and values. And so I don't want to damper the spirit of today by getting up on a soapbox or a platform and just barreling down on, on anyone. So one of the poems that I've chosen to read is Harriet Tubman. Many of the poems in my book are in honor or remembrance of people, John Lewis, Aretha Franklin, Michelle Obama, Harriet Tubman, and Maxine Waters. And so a lot of the poems are, I've written about people that I believe are heroes or heroines to me. This poem is entitled Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a wanted female slave runner. In the dead of night, she outwitted bounty hunters. She ran an underground railroad like it was a train. If slaves trusted Harriet, they'd never see slavery again. She was born a slave on Maryland's eastern shore, led 300 to freedom, was not folklore. Tired of the harsh treatment she received as a slave, it gave her courage, taught her to be bold and brave. She sustained a head injury when she was in her teens, suffered from headaches, seizures, and dreams. It worked in her favor. She said she spoke to God. She boasted to the other slaves, he was Moses' rod. 19 return trips led her family and strangers out. There was always the threat of danger lurking about. When slaves became weary or overcome with fear, she threatened, walk or I will shoot you right here. Harriet earned the nickname Moses after a Jewish man. State of head of bounty hunters was her best laid plan. There was no turning back, she knew for sure. A dosage of freedom was the only miracle cure. Some kind-hearted people treated her like family. Abolitionist John Brown or reformer Susan Anthony. She was a cook for the Union Army, a nurse and a spy. Each time she headed north, she told the South goodbye. In 1913, when she passed, surrounded by friends and family, thankful she died a hero and not hung from a tree. Interred as General Tubman at Fort Hill Cemetery. Among noted leaders, she was a true revolutionary. Thank you. Another one that I've chosen to read is Aretha Franklin, one that I wrote about Aretha. Her birthday was, I think, 2 days ago. And of course, I grew up in the 60s and she was the Queen of Soul. And most people who listen to R&B know who Aretha Franklin is. And the legacy that she left in her field. She was born in Memphis, Tennessee, a child prodigy, a caramel-skinned girl who was a classic beauty. One could never overlook her God-given voice. At the age of 16, easily the people's choice. Aretha sang genres like gospel, classical, and R&B, accompanied by blues, pop, soul, or symphony. Her sultry lyrics moan, "You did me wrong." If she coughed, it became a top Billboard song. Earned her title as Queen of Soul in 1968. Many of her diva counterparts would abdicate. The first female chose to Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. Even her haters had to admit Aretha was the game. RESPECT record was her first #1 hit. What you want, she had it. What you need, she got it. Her pink Cadillac, she was in the driver's seat. Award awarded 18 Grammys was no small feat. If Riri requested your presence, you would attend. Everyone wanted to become her personal friend. She hid her privacy, not one to run her mouth. Over a 60-year reign, she did not once hit a drought. In Detroit's Motor City, she was its golden girl. That commanding voice took her around the world, entertained presidents, the Pope, and Buckingham. She was flattered whenever introduced as a madam. What you spent to hear her bring down the timber, her performance of that caliber you would remember. God entombed that voice. It is under lock and key. Can it be replicated? It's up to God, but why would he? Thank you.
Beautiful.
Love Aretha. Love her.
Yeah. Do I have an opportunity to read one more?
Of course, of course. And save one for after. Save one for an encore.
Okay. This poem is in honor of my mom. This being National History Month, National Women History Month. There's no one in the world that I put before my mother. She passed away in 2002. She was the one that introduced me to poetry. She taught me Black dialect. She could rehearse the Negro Mother by Langston Hughes, which she had done since she graduated from high school. She was an RN by profession, but I believe her dream, had she had an opportunity and her family had the money, my mother probably would have been an actress. She certainly would have been on stage reciting poetry. And she would have been, I believe she would have been another Maya Angelou or at least a Toni Morrison. So this poem that's in my book is entitled, She Lived Her Eulogy. If you write Florence Etta's story, don't forget to tell it right. Grandma Nancy's shadow didn't let her out of sight. Always on her heels, mocked her walk and stance. She never cared for worldly music, nor even learned to dance. Read her first poetry book, Mama's World Open Wide, cherished each word and phrase hidden deep inside. Memorizing verses of her favorite poetic author, she never dreamt in black and white, but in living color. Avoided escalators and airplanes. She never learned to drive. Could stand before an audience with a voice that amplifies. She slipped into her zone when it was time to read her part. She was eloquent, articulate, the words poured from her heart. Forever in the background, no guile did she have, not one to be pretentious, with her soft as cotton laughed. At 65, a milestone, we gave a birthday party, treated her like a queen, for she was our royalty. She never met a stranger, kind words stayed in her mouth. If you thought she was a friend, you never had to doubt. She was precious as the day was long, sweet as she could be. She would rebuke a liar or talebearer. She believed in honesty. Early in the morning, her singing hit the rafters. Quickly got annoyed if we burst into laughter. Mama prayed each night, despite the day's events. Her head bowed low. The room released a holy scent. She studied the Word of God, able to defend the Bible. Not one to waste time, sleep too late, nor be found idle. A walking eulogy, she also talked the talk. Her mantra was to live upright, clinging to her living rock. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Wow, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Everyone, please unmute so we can give all three of our teachers a nice round of applause.
We are so honored to have these wonderful teachers today. Thank you all so much. Carolyn, that was just beautiful. I was so happy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I'm just so happy to see everybody here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, and everyone has brought their talent with them. I'm going to now turn the open mic over to Chip.
Hi, everyone. And once again, I definitely want to echo my gratitude to our three wonderful features. Barbara, just freaking amazing, you know, and Frankie. First time I hear you, and you knocked it out of the park, and you actually inspired me to read one of my poems that I'll read shortly. And Carolyn, thank you so much for that. Happy Women's History Month, everyone. Women are the backbones of our society, our lives, and they don't get enough credit for it. And today we want to give them credit for it, and each and every day. Happy Black History Month. I say that every month of the year because I'm Black every month of the year. So I definitely want to reach out to my brothers and sisters and thank you all, people who are allies in this fight against racism. It's horrible what's been happening, the killing of Black people, the killing of Asian people, the killing of people because of hate. And it's just so horrible with so much hate going on, and which is something that this country was founded on. So I won't go out on my tangent, but I would like to read a poem that shortly before I open up the open mic. And it's something that Frankie said that maybe when read it's called, when he was talking about insecurities. My insecurity was, I don't know if you have a problem, do you really ever get over it? Was my speech impediment. This poem can be about anything that is a recurring problem. And our recurrent problem is racism. Our recurrent problem could be alcoholism or drug addiction. And, or it could be something that you can't control. This is called the beast. My eyes open, the day falls dark, and I'm at war with the beast I defeated yesterday. No one can see the wound tightly wrapped in the dried blood-stained linen underneath my breastplate. No one seems to care, having their own battles to fight and their own wounds to mend. From the muddy depths, I lift up my sword towards the heavens, swinging with the mighty strength of the gods, cutting the belly of the beast, merely wounding him before he retreats. Another round is imminent, and morning is only hours away. I will rejoice and rest till then. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Impediment. Now we will open up the open mic. The rules of the open mic is that you have 3 minutes to say your poem. We suggest that you please leave off the opening of the poem or the introduction and just get right into the poem, and that way we can get many people in. Okay, so the first person that I would like to ask to read during the open mic is Gladys Henderson. And Gladys Henderson is like one of the mothers of Poetry Street. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And a former poet laureate, Gladys Henderson.
You look so good. Anyway, today, I'll read it twice. It's a short poem. Today, nothing changes. The arc of light moves as it must, as planned, falls behind us, used well or not. No time for the luxury of review. When the minute happens, it cascades as ash, dissolves into the cosmic sea that accepts all, for better or worse. Nothing changes. The arc of light moves as it must, as planned, falls behind us, used well or not. No time for the luxury of review. When the minute happens, it cascades as ash, dissolves into the cosmic sea that accepts all, for better or for worse. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Wow.
That was beautiful. Nina Yavelle is on Poetry Street on the Road, episode 3. Poetry Street on the Road was a series that we shot at the Eastern Arts Program, I guess around 2019. And it's available on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com. And you'll be able to see Nina Yavelle as well as some of the other people that are on this call. Nina Yavelle.
Hi, I'm Nina, and I just want to quickly introduce this poem. It was written in about a few years ago, but it takes place in 1946 when I was 3 years old. Called The Great Wood Table, 1946. Inside the great wood table, flour grouts the grain, veils the oak, here and there traces of pies, huge pies carefully rolled. Around the great wood table, the family celebrated weddings, births, communions, the return of sons. On the great wood table, my grandfather made wine from brown cherries, displayed his harvest of scallions, tomatoes, peppers, shining like porcelain. I first noticed the women then, sprinkling flour on the wood, fingers kneading, touching, stretching the yielding dough. They poured and soaked grain, filled the shells, placed the latticed works into the fired ovens. The men gorged themselves on food, rich red sauces, pasta, thick bread. They drank dark wines, smoked small twisted cigars, snored while blue smoke curled around the room. Those pies, filled with citron and sweet cheese, wheat grains in the soft center. Those women, the great wood table. I never saw the wood then, the light and the cherry wine. I never danced the tarantella.
Nice. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Nina. Sharon Duckweiler will be our next poet. And Sharon, if you could just unmute yourself and also tell us where you're from.
I'm from, where am I from now? Deer Park.
Okay.
And it's Dockweiler.
Dockweiler, thank you.
This is the dactyl dance in dactylic trimeter with a few hiccups. Writing a sonnet may have been my dream, but rhyming in iambs can make a girl scream. So formal, not normal, my poems must play. They pirouette, ball and chain, then grand jeté. I prefer dactyls, dear, oh yes I do, dancing across the page, singing to you. So if you have come for a sonnet to hear, buckle up, we're going dancing, my dear.
Nice, nice. Great. I love that hat too.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Me too.
Thank you.
Matt and Terry, I know that you're sitting there and you didn't sign up, but I know you're going to read something later on. I'm not going to call you now because I'm going to give you a minute, but I'm just putting you on notice that you will not be excused today because we have to hear from you.
Okay. All right,
All right,
Cliff.
great.
All right,
And the
Cliff.
same thing for you, Maria Anderson. Okay, so I'm coming back to you, but I want to first of all echo something that Maggie said about Gianna Volpe, WLIW 88.3 FM. She has the morning show, and we really enjoy all the love that Gianna Volpe gives us. And they're having a fundraiser drive, so please support them. WLIW 88.3 FM. Okay, so Bill Batcher was featured on WLIW with Gianna Volpe a couple months ago, along with some of the other poets that's on this call. So Bill, would like for you to read, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have two short poems.
Easter is coming up, and this is based on Judas's betrayal. It's called The Coins. What is the price of a dove, a goat, a cow, a sheep, an ox? What do you get for an urn, a wooden table, chair, or box? What is the going rate for an acre of land with a house? What is the cost of a tomb to bury a son, a parent, a spouse? What do I pay for a horse, an ass, a mule, a slave, a wife? How many pieces of silver do you ask to sell out a life? And the other one is on a different vein entirely, but it's something that Maggie said before, so I thought I ought to read this one. It's called The Poet's Lament. A poet's life is not a happy one. He wakens pen in hand, air, rising sun, and writes with passion, eloquence, and grace, with imagery and rhythm and a trace of pathos, till the finished work in whole can stir the spirit and renew the soul. But publishers would be the first to say that no one buys a book of poems today. But if he wrote a harlequin romance or fantasy or how-to book, his chance of ever getting published would increase. But poetry? Not till pigs fly, at least. And so tonight, dear friend, send up a prayer for struggling, starving poets everywhere, that readers once again begin to see the riches that derive from poetry. Thank you.
Nice, nice. You know, poetry serves a lot of purposes. You know, people heal by writing poetry. Poetry is that that one thing that brings us all together from different backgrounds, and it's a wonderful thing. And we all have poetry because it comes from the heart. That's something that Susan Dingle told me. Susan Dingle is our founder of Poetry Street. She and Bubby Brown, and we're grateful to have them both here. And I'm going to ask our founder, Susan Dingle, to please read a poem.
Thank you, Bubby. Today is Passover. Next week is Easter. So I wanted to honor both great traditions by reading a poem by Yehuda Amichai, who was considered to be Israel's greatest contemporary poet. This is a poem called Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Why Jerusalem? And it's a long poem that I'm not going to read. I'm just going to read part 1 and the last part, which is number 28. And I recommend this book to you.
What is the book? Hold it up again or say the name.
Yehuda
Amichai.
Okay, great.
Amichai.
Jerusalem,
Amichai is what they pronounce it.
Why Jerusalem? 1. Jerusalem is forever changing her ways, like King David, who put on a crazy face to escape from death. The dead pretend to be resurrected, the living to be dead. Peace puts on a scary mask of war, and war changes its ways to peace. And we who dwell within her are displayed in the shop windows of history with a wardrobe of peculiar fashions and frozen gestures, a heavenly expression on our faces for pilgrims and tourists and the exalted angels. But what we really wanted was to go wild in dark storerooms with an untrammeled joy, as in the Garden of Eden. They were naked and were not ashamed. And the saints who ascended on high in the distant past, and the astronauts who will ascend from Jerusalem in the distant future, it's as if they are running away from her to heaven. For compared to Jerusalem, even the outer space of infinity is safe and protected like a true home. This is part 28. Why Jerusalem? Why me? Why not another city, another person? Once I stood at the western wall when suddenly a flock of startled birds soared up, shrieking and flapping their wings like bits of paper with wishes scribbled on them. Wishes that flew out from between the massive stones and descended on high. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, why Jerusalem? By Yehuda Amitai. Thank you all.
Wow. Thank you so much, Susan. And thank you so much for the brainstorm of Poetry Street. Can you just, since you are the founder, can you just real briefly just talk a little bit about Poetry Street and why?
All I can say is that it was something that a power greater than ourselves decided that there should be such a thing as Poetry Street. And Bubby and I were honored to be the ones who put it into motion, thanks to the beautiful, wonderful Nancy Kouros at the Blue Duck Bakery Cafe. And it all came together. It was really a desire for community. And I'm so grateful to you and Maggie for continuing it. It's just a wonderful thing. I just feel as though Poetry Street was meant to be. And the only thing I can say about its founding is that I once went to the Neo-Rican Poets Cafe on the Lower East Side. And I had a chance to be one of the poets at the open mic. It was very exciting. And it just was a place where people were cheering for poetry like it was basketball. And I thought, that's what Riverhead really needs. And it turns out it was what Riverhead really needed. So thank you very much for giving us this chance to keep it going.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you for the history of Poetry Street. And Bubby Brown, we're going to ask you to show your face a little bit later. Right now, we just see your screen, and I know that you're going to say something. And Colleen, I'm going to get to you next, so I'm going to ask you to also turn your camera on. But now I'm going to go to Bernard Hicks, and I'm going to ask Bernard, because I haven't met Bernard, but I would love to find out where he's from.
Hey, how you doing, Chip? Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Originally, I'm from Harlem, born and raised up in Manhattan, moved out to Queens in my late 20s. So I like to say I'm born in the Bronx, actually. So I like to say I'm the Bronx-born Jesus, Harlem-raised Moses, and I live my life in Queens. So that's my story right there.
That's your story. You're sticking to it?
I'm sticking to it. That's what
all right. Give us some poetry.
Okay. First, I'd like to shout out to you also, because me and myself, I grew up with a speech impediment and being let out of class and going to different classes, special classes, just to get my speech correctly. So I understand the insecurities, and I think if we all sign the petition, we can actually make April National Insecurity Release Month. And that probably would cut down on all the hatred, all the racism, if people were just allowed to express their insecurities and go, and we all can get along a lot better. So in honor of Frankie, yourself, Ms. Caroline, I think we should make April National Insecurity Month Release Month.
Hear, hear, I second that motion. All right.
Okay, the title of my poem is Iced Tea or Lemonade. It's about the opulence in life. Iced tea or lemonade. The opulent choices of life, often not accompanied with an opulent price. Choices that give you a natural high, like choosing between a second serving of mac and cheese or sweet potato pie. Iced tea or lemonade, another opulent choice of life, like choosing between wearing a shirt of silk or linen and which watch will make it right. Growing up, nothing like a new pair of sneakers, choice of blue suede Pumas or shell-toe Adidas. Couldn't wait to come outside to see the neighborhood faces, rocking a double knot or untied laces. Getting ready for the house party or that summer park jam. Got your eye on that cute girl Lisa or the fly girl Pam? Is it the dolphin earrings or bamboo hoop style? Will it be the cool dudes there or the ones running wild? Saturday night and the crew want to know what's good. roll down the 40 deuce, or stay chilling in the hood. And one night, trying to do all we can, spend all our quarters on pinball or Miss Pac-Man. Hungry in the hood, what will it be? White Castles on a budget or splurge on Mickey D's? Add 2 pies for $1 or super salty fries, or elite 5 White Castles with onion rings on the side. Fish and chips or 4 wings and fried rice, washing it down with sugary Kool-Aid or Pepsi in a tall glass of ice. Okay, it's snack time and here we go. Choice of chocolate chip cookies or splitting Oreos. Waking up on Saturday morning and feeling no blues. Time to pick my favorite TV shows. Will it be Soul Train first or start with the cartoons? Life as an adult or the carefree world as a kid at play. Freedom to make your own decisions or living life with no bills to pay. Chill glass of white wine, laying next to someone you can say is all mine. Or half a glass of Merlot, laying next to your love with nowhere to go. Or sitting by the pool or laying on white sand. Refills of pina colada and holding your lover's hand. You can become rich by acquiring a lot or by desiring little. Is one better than the other, or is it somewhere in the middle? The road to opulence can be long and demanding, often a road of attrition to be the last one standing. The result sometimes not worth the isolation, requiring family sacrifice and lots of patience. Striving for opulence can be all the rage. You can be on a long road of blood, sweat, and tears trying to get paid. Or would you rather be relaxing under some shade with your choice of iced tea or lemonade? Thank you, everyone.
Oh, wow. That was amazing. I'm a little bit hungry now, but that's all right. That's okay. White Castles or Crystals?
White Castles.
Okay, all right. And anyway, all right, so we're gonna move on. No, I'm just messing with you. Just trying to keep it light. Okay, we're gonna move on to Colleen. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And Colleen is my speech therapist.
That was very brave of you. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of me too. And I thank you so much. Tilt your camera down a little bit because we're cutting you. There, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So my poem is entitled Forgetting To. Forget the bite of the dog, the scratch of the cat, the sting of the bee. Forget the sudden death of Jack and Jill. Forget the agonizing loss of Cat. Forget the last breath of Butterfly as she lay in your arms. Forget the rejection of your mother. Forget the torment of a rape. Forget the abuse of Elaine. Forget the loneliness of isolation. Forget the shrill scream of grief. Forget the anger in confusion. Forget the composition of indifference. Forget the memory of pain. Forget the momentary panic in performance. Forget the sting of envy. Forget the dread of loss. Forget the birth of fear. Forget to remember. Forget to forget. Forget you forgot. Forget and remember anew.
Wow. Thank you so much, Colleen.
That's
Really
good.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're gonna go to J.R. Turek, one of my favorite people on the planet. J.R.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I love that camera, J.R.
Isn't it wonderful?
It is.
Well, thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Maggie. And oh, thank you, Chip. So here's a brand new one. Kissless lips. Zoom is a perfect reason to wear lipstick. Such alluring shades waiting for a wearing, voluptuous violet, luscious lavender, perfect purple, and that magenta maven I haven't even worn yet. But senseless to wear it at home doing dishes and laundry, binge watching anything again and again. Writing poetry. Chapstick isn't the same even if it's tinted. Zoom is the perfect reason to wear lipstick. Desperate to wear any shade, I stand at the door waiting for the mailman who is masked, but I think he sees me, maybe likes that my lipstick matches my sweatshirt. Too risky to wear lipstick while walking the dog. I did once and never again. A neighbor approached and I quickly put on my mask. We chatted, and when I got home, I saw a purple streak across my cheeks to ears, along my nose. Not pretty. Yes, Zoom is the perfect reason to wear lipstick. An active habit, I apply a bright purple gloss, run out to get bread, forgetting. On the way home, I pull off the mask. A perfect kiss stains the inside, impossible to wash off. Lips remain pursed in waiting, in wishing this pandemic was over, vaccines slow to get to us, appointments backed up. But I have faith we will find a new normal soon. Not hedging any bets, and a habit I can't break. I keep a lipstick in my purse, just in case. So now I Zoom all day, all countries, poetry, and then a history lecture, art galleries, museums, writing workshops, poetry events, cooking classes. I don't cook. Lessons in Russian and Mandarin. I am a mini portrait in the gallery, smiling, lips fashion forward. Yes, yes, Zoom is the perfect reason to wear lipstick until we can kiss again. Thank you.
Pretty awesome. Thank you so much, JR, Miss Judy, Tarek. Love you.
Love you.
Maggie Bloomfield is always, she's so gracious. She's just such a professional, always professional. I love her so much, ladies and gentlemen. Maggie Bloomfield.
Thank you, Chip.
Welcome.
Okay, this poem is called The Name of That Tune. It might have been jazz, you cool, it's cool, Coltrane. It might have been rock, hard as I fell for those Jagger moves. It might have been blues, but I was one red hot bitch for you. Ska, perhaps, a mishmash of reggae, a not rock steady chaos, radical smash. It might have been pop, but I stopped singing along, weighed down with the irony of heavy metal. It might have been hip hop, not always part of my wheelhouse. I missed the memo about slam. It was definitely a classical failure, calligraphied with toxic ink that ran right off the chart. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie's also on Poetry Street on the Road, episode number 5. And you can get that episode on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com. Luis Valdez, also known as Luis the Poet, is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful poet. He also featured during Black History Month on the anthology of the Minority Poet. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Luis the Poet.
Thank you, Chip. Chip is Louis V the Poet. It's okay.
Luis, I'm gonna have to work with that with my speech therapist. Louis the Poet. Okay, thank you. Yeah, my pronunciations are not always perfect, but I'm working on them. Thank you so much.
No worries. It is good. Even myself, I also have a speech impediment, and it sucks. However, what I will say, do not allow the naysayer win. That's all. Okay, so with my poem, this is a half of a poem. This is my first time collabing, and to really sum it up, myself, I am half Dominican and Cuban, and I am currently collabing with my friend. who is currently in Florida, and she is Haitian. So we're writing. I'm writing from from the Dominican perspective, and she's writing from Haitian perspective, just what happened and what went wrong. So this poem's called "The Death of His Spainola." Before the arrival of 1492, the Dominican Republic in Haiti was one. Community and unity. Columbus divided us and called us Hispaniola. The European disease almost exterminated the Taínos and the Arawaks. Africans were captured to become enslaved by the European Empire. Our men were murdered. Our women was raped, and the babies became slaves to the European genocide. Their religion was enforced on us. To accept Jesus, we must accept our earthly master. We lost our scientific method of science. The hieroglyphic scripts that was written for my ancestors was burned into the ashes that scattered from the lost memories throughout the wind. We forgot that love was our religion. Me or more. We couldn't even recognize ourselves with the lies in the mirror. Hispaniola was the name that birthed the Dominican Republic in Haiti. United they stand. Haiti aided the Dominicans to overthrow the descendants of Columbus. Divided they fall. Rafael Trujillo bloodshed the massacres to his fellow Haitian. Le Brete ou La Mort, as they screamed before their bodies became the split sea of the 224 miles divided border. The oppressed become the oppressor, as his followers viewed Trujillo as the Dominican Moses who created the Red Sea. Trujillo justified his racism by playing God, gift of death. The Haitian became the voice of the forgotten as the Dominican war death in the oppressor's song. Love language. Speaking Spanish is not our rooted language, while blossom of flowers wither ways in the hands of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luis. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna ask Matt or Terry to please share something with us.
Hi, Chip. I can't say no to you. You're lucky you're sweet and cute. I'll read today. So I know we shouldn't introduce stuff, but I just wanted to say to Caroline's point about not reading anything too political, all poetry is political. And what is left out is just as political as what is put in. And systems thrive when good people don't stand up against bad systems. So keep reading your work, Carolyn. We need your voice. We need people to keep saying things against racism and anti-Blackness. This world needs your voice. So anyway, so this is a poem called Autopsy for a Dream, and it's about my ideas about America. Last night, America died. Millions swarmed the streets in mournful procession for a dream no longer deferred. Its promissory note bounced, its blue baby born perfectly formed. America's neck snapped by rope on the thoracic, then opened on the slab of 24-hour news cycles, anchors dressed in sunshine, yellow, and teeth, announcing the presumed cause of death, asphyxiation. America gasping in a headlock, crying, "I can't breathe." America smothered under the weight of 10 million .coms, 2,000 news tickers, and the bodies of all the babies washed up on the shores of five-star hotels. The dream of America crushed under brown families that it dismembered. Undertakers lined up to paint her nails, brush her hair while serving finger sandwiches to men in suits. At the viewing, lawyers locked up America's room, made sure nothing was touched. then sealed it off with velvet ropes and charged a fee to hear its revised history on repeat over a loudspeaker until no one remembers it's gone.
Thank you so much, Terry, for that. And if you guys ever have an opportunity to read some of, or not read her work, but see Terry in action, like at a feature, please go. Her story and her work is incredible. Maria Anderson is on Poetry Street on the Road. One of the episodes, I think it's episode 4. We're going to have to look at the directory. But she's a star. Maria Anderson, everyone.
Aw. Okay. I actually wrote this like this morning, so it's brand new. It's called "I'm Not Enough for Anywhere." I'm a mix of everything. But I'm also too white for my black friends, too black for my white friends, too native for either, and not native enough for my native friends. I'm a mix of everything. I have freckles and know how to say mozzarella correctly because of my Italian and Irish grandmother. I love Swedish meatballs and can speak French because of my grandfathers, one being Swedish, the other French Canadian. But I'm tinted and have sass. So I'm white, yes, but I'm not white enough. I have curly, nappy, hard to handle hair. A beautiful culture that, truth be told, I don't know too well, and I wish I knew better. My grandfather is African. I know some of my African roots, but he was adopted at birth. So there was a lot I don't know. There was a lot lost. I don't know where I came from. But I have a native name and was raised primarily in that part of my culture. So I'm black, yes, but not black enough. I can set up a sweat lodge and a new moon ceremony, as well as partially conduct them. I know which rocks to burn and what plants can heal which ailments. I have a Native American name that I worked very hard to earn, and I'm connected with the spirit world. But I don't speak Native and don't know the meanings to all the dances. So I'm Native, but not Native enough. You see, I'm Irish, Italian, Swedish, French Canadian, African, Apache, Blackfoot, and Cherokee. I can fit in with any of the groups because I know enough. But in their eyes, I will never be enough. I'm too much of one color or not close enough to this culture, and so on and so forth. But you know what? I'm perfectly happy just being enough for myself.
And all the things that you are perfect. Thank you just the way you are, and we love you so much. Thank you so much, Maria, for that beautiful poem. Herb Gunnar.
I love all the talk about the multicultural within the South. I did my Ancestry.com. I have about 13 or 14 different sources for my DNA and love it. I consider myself now a Cosmo boy. And there used to be those Cosmo girls from Cosmopolitan magazine. I'm a Cosmo boy. Anyway, there were also poems about people who meant a great deal to us. And I have one for my wife who sadly passed away on All Souls Day, November 2nd, 2020. And her name was Lorenda, and this is Vision of Lorenda. A golden sun approaches the middle of a silver blue sky. I'm sauntering through a green gold pasture. It's very quiet. The pasture is deliciously fragrant. It's a delicate late spring day. A slight silver haze hangs and adds such a plein air touch that I know I'm in a Monet. The sun reaches its zenith. It gleams like a golden bowl. Then I notice a different sparkle. At a distance from me stands a sunflower-haired woman. Her hair sparkles and flows beside a glowing, sunlit stream. She stands stoutly, solemnly, like a spell-weaving spirit. I walk bewilderedly toward this Burne-Jones Sybil. Suddenly, the entire vision vanishes. A rain downpour wakes me. Startled, I look around and see my bare, musty, and Lorendaless bedroom. It's a cold, wet, early spring night in Farmingville. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Elaine Winston will be our next reader, and you know, you gotta buckle your seatbelts up for her. I tell you, she's incredible. Elaine.
Hey, I am unmuted, so I hope you can hear me.
Yep.
Okay. So I have been studying haiku because I'm trying to stay focused in my poetry, and what better way than to just have 3 lines to provide a thought. So I have 3 short haiku. They are under the title of Things Are Not What They Appear to Be. On peace. For peace to survive, don't forget to follow rules in newfound freedom. On humanity. In humanity, children unfed cry, girls scared hide, mothers alone sigh. And the last one will be on the environment. Dark ocean waves crash, jetties built to save the sand, ruin tidal land. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna go on and ask Gladys to please unmute herself. She had another part of her poem that she wanted to read. And Matt, I hadn't forgotten about you. I see you up there, looking all cool. Okay, Gladys Henderson.
So I have a series of 6 sketches that were written at the same lake that E.B. White wrote his essay, Once More to the Lake, and here they are. 6 sketches from the lake. 1, blossoms of white dogwood, the clock turned forward, winter gives way at last. Spring's last day, still pond, wild iris, cool breeze, perfume of peony, milk brown ducklings glide in their mother's wake. On swing with the wind, a green motorboat, rippling shadows slide along its body. Water keeps secrets. 8 pine branches. The dock dug deep so water will not float its desire. All harnessed with tires to protect, preserve. The newly fledged glide by with their mother. I count 8 today. The last in line, fragile, a comma. Perhaps an answer to what will remain or leave on this day. Everything shouts, stay, precious life, stay.
Thank you so much. There is this incredible family, and I can't talk enough about the Muse Pasca family, and I'm probably reversing it, you know, but it works either way, I guess. But they are just a very talented family. They have 2 boys, and the mother and the dad, and they have Atticus and Rainer, and then Matt and Terry. What a beautiful family. And, you know, here's Matt. You know, you guys are doing something great over there, and I just love it. And I love receiving all the Facebook posts and everything of your talented boys. They're great. And the youngest one, Atticus,
Yes.
Atticus, he gave me a catchphrase. He was just like, "This is like having a party in my heart." You know, and that's what Poetry Street is. Poetry Street is like having a party in your heart when you get all these wonderful people from all over the United States and over the world. We even had someone from St. Thomas come to Poetry Street, so we're really happy about that. Okay, Matt, do us proud.
All right. Thank you, Chip. You're very kind. I really came to, you know, listen to Frankie and Barbara and Carolyn and all the wonderful open mic participants, but I'm being strong-armed into this. So
you haven't seen my strong arm yet. Wait till you get Larry Short. He's on this call now. He's like one of my mentors from way back in the day. I'm gonna get him to say something. Now I'll strong arm him. Larry, I'm just giving you fair warning. You're next. Strong arm. Okay.
You know, one of the things that fuels us as a family is travel, and it's so important to get outside of the United States, and for so many reasons, not the least of which is, you know, it's laid bare very clear how, you know, everywhere around the world, you know, life happens and people are generally happy, and this lie of American exceptionalism is kind of laid bare. So this is a poem called What Mexico Said to the U.S. Here, days are Quetzal gemstone flamingo, or photon sonata of soil, and all the avocado trees mutter peace, and coffee nubs spiral into blue pails under low cumulus, spading weeds between zocalos y piramides, where we replant the human heart. To you, we are cartel peligroso and uncivilized. To us, you are impoverished, sneering at our drum-blown chilly dust growl, our smoke burn, our Guadalupe fiestas de oraciones y buñuelos. Your marble museums omit us, but not your Taco Tuesday Cinco de Tequila cash flow. We learned centuries ago to run from your death tick, like Chalk's lightning axe through Mayan air. We look up, wonder when you'll take more of our sky. How you took Arizona, Utah, Nevada, California, Texas, and New Mexico, crossing every border we owned. In your country, airbrushed breasts stagger and tempt, coiffed ladies lament expired coupons and shop elsewhere. Once black-haired senoras appear in market aisles calling "Vámonos." Your country wealth is sainthood, poverty sin, branding flesh with all the wrong stories. A land where every week children are shot and no one does a thing.
Thank you so much, Matt. And yeah,
I fell in love with you again, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate that. Larry Short, I just want him to just to say hello if you don't mind. Larry, can you please unmute yourself? Oh, he's trying to show me who has the strong arm. He's not going to unmute himself. He probably will later. Anyway, we're gonna. No, he's probably going to get me. Calling me now. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. His hand is raised. Larry, I just need you to unmute. Oh, Lord. Oh, there you go. Larry?
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are.
And, oh yes, and there's no video. Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I kind of sit back at each session. I enjoy it immensely. I thank Chip for the invitation. So the benefit for me is, one thing, I support Chip in things that he does, as well as he, in my instance as well. His husband, John, I give congratulations and hello to again. Unfortunately, I have a pandemic look, so that during this pandemic, since I'm around the house, I look awful. So I wouldn't dare let you see me now, but hopefully in the hearing one day, I will really have a chance to talk with you. I enjoy it. Thank you, Chip, for the invitation. Thank you all for your expressions.
Thank you so much, Larry, for addressing my wonderful community of Poetry Street, and which you are now and always a part of. I'm going to turn this back over to Maggie, and she's going to bring our features back for our last poem. Once again, I'd like to thank our features, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for sharing your poetry and sharing your heart and sharing your time with us. Make sure that you go on the website, poetrystreetontheroad.com, and take a look at all of our videos. We have a complete season of 9 episodes of Poetry Street, as well as the film. And Maria, Nina, Susan, Maggie, myself, Bubby, we're all on the film as well as the episodes. So please check us out. And come back next month. We're doing the Zoom every last Saturday of the month. Once the pandemic stops, we'll continue to do Zoom, but we will also be live around town and maybe in your community as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Bloomfield. You're muted, Maggie. Finally, I get to say
Yes, I am. What a wonderful open mic. My God, there is so much talent on this screen. I'm surprised it doesn't explode. Yes, but I do want to say about next month, April, is Poetry Month. So we are really going to look forward to Poetry Street next month. And the features are Adrian Unger and who else? Oh, Mindy Cronenberg and hopefully Wayne Meneke. So I hope that you will all join us next month. I'm happy to bring back our features to read another poem. Barbara, would you like to start?
But it has been wonderful. You know, you leave these readings and you just feel so elevated. It really helps all of us to get through these times. I'm going to just read a poem. I saw a documentary of Jane Goodall's work in Gambia, and I wrote this poem. It's called Stacking Wood. It takes your mind off what's going on, taking one cut piece of wood and fitting it into the right niche. Much like building the bricks much like building the paths I like to make from bricks washed up on shore. You need to pay attention or the whole thing gets out of balance. Families are like that, and so are communities. Continuing up the hierarchy to countries, then moving deeper into the balance of trees, water, heat, cold. I wonder how close we are to the chimpanzees Jane studied in the forests of Gambia, with our tribal affiliations, our fear of the other. They too nurture their young, take care of their own, but watch out if that balance gets messed with. All hell breaks loose.
Wow. Wonderful, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you.
And next up, Frankie Soto.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Chip. Barbara and Carolyn, you were both amazing. All the open micers, phenomenal job. Thankful to be here on Poetry Street. And I want to segue really quick because y'all heard Terry tonight, and she doesn't do this enough, so I'm going to do it for her because I believe in her work. She does have a book, God's Fine. And listen,
Thank you.
She'll put it in the chat. This book is really that dope. And I I read this book weekly. I always tell her to put it out because it is fire. Check it out. I'm sure she'll put all the details. It's God Spine. You see this cover? The words are even better. Carolyn, talking about Aretha, I wrote a poem, a tribute poem to Hank Aaron, and I haven't read it. And I actually, Matt Pasca, I sent it to him, and he briefly looked at it, helped me with some edits, and I think I want to read it now. So it's called Baseball Has Been Called God's Heaven, and I grew up loving baseball. I grew up in the BX, 15 years of my life, down the block from Yankee Stadium. So it's a rite of passage. You basically have no choice but to fall in love with baseball when you're that close to Yankee Stadium. So this is called Baseball Has Been Called God's Heaven, a tribute to Hank Aaron. These hands and quick wrists that made a Sandlot boy a legend. This sloppy southern dirt knew you were too rich for the weeds and divots, too scared to let you play on their high school teams, ride their faulty rundown yellow school buses. They spit at you instead of spitting with you on a diamond that idolized you before they knew you were a mountain amongst rocks. At 14, a boy playing amongst men, the rush of sprinting for every 90 feet was worth every inch, every breath smothered by your mother's shaky palms, belly flat on a cold floor as the KKK marched through the neighborhood with dangerous weapons and wrong hands. A wooden bat never called your hands wrong. 3,000 hate mail a day, and you saved each letter with dry, cracked, paper-cut fingers, forgave threats in honor of their white Yankee God, didn't flinch at the pistol that was promised to find your blackened bones if you dare rounded those bases for a 715th time. 385 feet later on a brisk April 8th night, their God, now a mere mortal, you a home run king sneaking out a back entrance, head tucked under an arm, still asked to be stealthy. Tonight the champagne will taste sweeter, won't be alligator bait in a brackish swamp. A brown body no one misses when not swinging a bat. You grew tired of your mother's trembling palms, tired of hiding the truth that you were worthy of the babe tipping his cap. 755 home runs later, a hero to every boy in Alabama, still belly flat, hiding on a floor who wanted to stand and be a mountain. Still a villain to every wrong hand, waving a Confederate flag outside the stadium, wanting you to be that black boy chasing down broken down buses instead of chasing down records owned by white men. If baseball is indeed God's heaven, I hope you untuck your head, lift it as high as you always deserved. I hope the babe comes over to shake your hand first, and they argue over who gets dibs on you. And we do this Sandlot style. Thank you.
Oh.
Awesome.
Wow. Okay. And now we bring back the lovely Carolyn June Jackson.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last poem that I've selected is Why I Kneel. And it's a poem that I wrote after all the controversy started about Colin Kaepernick kneeling at the games. And everything that's been said about it, good, bad, and indifferent. And this is my spin. The national anthem plays, I get down on one knee. My form of protest is a silent plea. It has nothing to do with a veteran's pride, but reveals the frustration I feel inside. Your anthem sounds a lot like white noise. America is not Babylon. We aren't the Hebrew boys. I do respect all veterans, proud of their service. I only want change, but politicians get nervous. You think the only thing Blacks did was work on plantations? They were in every significant war defending this nation. Ignore the simple fact that Blacks fought on foreign soil to protest a white man's freedom, to protect a white man's freedom made their spilled blood boil. Our race is more patriotic than Trump will ever be. In Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, and Germany. Asleep in Pearl Harbor when the Japanese came to visit, with nothing but a toe tag and a body bag as their only exit. Returned from every battle with honor and recognition, ignored as if they never made a significant contribution. Martin Luther King led quiet marches, but still he died. You prefer to believe Trump, and we know he lied. If I acted like the Panthers coming after your sons, the FBI would take my freedom and every one of my guns. I choose the NFL to protest, but you call it foul. I'm Colin Kaepernick, not General Colin Powell. My protest has nothing to do with American vets. I will stay down on my knees, having no regrets. When racist police stop killing us without a second thought, it won't matter to you where I was when I fought. Thank you.
Yes, tell the truth, Carolyn. Tell the truth. Tell that truth.
Yes, yes. Everyone can unmute. And Maggie, do we have anything else?
I don't.
Oh, wow.
I think we're good.
We're good. Okay.
So
Okay. Well, everyone unmute. I want you to all give everyone an applause. I do want to. Yeah, that was just awesome.
Green.
Everyone just unmute and just give a round of applause to our features, Carolyn June Jackson, and Frankie Soto, and Barbara Southard, and of course the wonderful Maggie Bloomfield. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next.
Chip, can I just say, if you want one of Frankie's awesome shirts that say dope and insecure, they're for sale. And I think we're all dope and insecure, so y'all want one. I know you do.
I definitely want one.
Break me up if you want one.
Especially for insecure.
I will call you and let you know. Awesome. Well, I want everyone to be safe. I want to end with one poem. It's going to be real short. It's called In God's Hands. God's hands covered me when it stormed, guided me throughout my journey, held me when I was lonely, protected me, and hid me from my enemy. Where am I? I'm in God's hands. Yes, in God's hands I am. Even when it's dark, even when it's cold, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard, I'm in God's hands, and I know I am safe. Be safe, everyone, and be well.
Happy holiday. Happy Passover.
Happy holiday.
Happy holiday. Happy Passover, yes.
Thank you so much.
And love. Spread love.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Frankie.
Hi, Maria's mom. Is that Maria's mom? She's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Maria,
you love your daughter.
You.
Thank you. Me too.
And hear you. Love Zoom.